All right, everyone, welcome to the Mount Vernon community meeting. I think we're getting some kind of feedback somewhere. Just let me see if I can mute everybody. All right, let's try this again and see if we can get this sound working. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. Welcome to the first Mount Vernon District Station virtual community meeting. As all of you may have guessed, things have changed obviously significantly here within the police department, as in the county and the entire country. Our goal within the police department is to make sure that we can stay connected with you, the members of the community, and try to keep you abreast on what we have going on here within the agency, things that we're doing within the agency to make sure that we continue our services to the community, ways we're trying to keep our officers safe, ways we're trying to keep you all safe. So the plan for this meeting is we had some folks, we asked to submit some questions ahead of time to email, so we'll address some of those. And at the end of this, again, working through this process, these virtual meetings are new to a lot of folks, but if you have a Zoom account, at the end of this, there should be a feature on your account that allows you to raise your hand to ask a question. So if you have a question here at the end, we're going to give that a try and allow you to raise your hand, and then we'll try to get your audio unmuted, and we'll try to answer any questions you might have. I know the Chief of Police is here on the line, so we're going to be able to hear from him. And we'll also talk with our crime prevention officers and the assistant commander here at the station, just to give you a general overview as to what we are doing here in the Mount Vernon district to continue our services here to you in the community. So with that, I'm going to unmute Lieutenant Daryl Nichols, let him say a few words, and then we'll get started.
Introduce myself to everybody, and just say welcome. And we're here to serve and make sure everybody remains safe through this unusual time.
Thank you, Daryl. Next, I'd like to introduce Chief Edwin Rossler to say a few words.
Good evening, Captain. Can you hear me?
I can, yes, sir.
Well, good evening, everyone. And on behalf of all the women and men of the Fairfax County Police Department and the entire Fairfax County government, we continue to pray for everyone in our community and around the globe as we face this pandemic. Captain Ruck has already introduced several topics that he will discuss in detail this afternoon and into the evening. And our goal is to provide safety for everyone as one team Fairfax. You will hear from other members of the Fairfax County government. And our goal is to check on our neighbors, check on each other, and we could do that in a safe social distancing platform using electronic means, and also to work with our community partners, especially our faith groups, to support those that do not have any family support or any other form of support to survive this pandemic. And again, I just want to say my prayers continue for all of us in this world, and I'll turn it back over to the captain for more. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. As the Chief said, obviously we're in this together. We're in this as a community. We're in this as a nation. And our police department has been working diligently with other county entities to make sure that we can provide those services. Again, these are very trying times, and it's a situation that none of us were really used to. I mean, this is completely different than other crises that we faced in the past. So understanding that from our position, we want to make sure that you as a community have all the information that you're going to need. We have some websites up here. You should be able to see it on your screen. The Fairfax County Health Department website. You're going to get all the information that you need there, reference the actual COVID virus and what's going on within the community with the COVID virus, reference the number of cases, new cases, and they update that every evening. So it's very up to date. If you haven't looked at that website, there's a lot of very good information on there. It talks about the testing information as testing becomes available, where that's going to happen, how that's going to happen, when that's going to happen. Again, contact information if you need it, different education and ways you can protect yourself and protect your family. I know there's a lot of disinformation out there and a lot of information being put out. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those potential scams later when we talk about crime prevention. But the education piece is huge, and to understand how to take care of yourself and how to take care of your families. And obviously the information blog and some videos to explain some of the testing process, some of the treatment process that's going on with this virus. And just very good information on there to put your minds at ease in a lot of ways, to understand what's happening. Again, information is power, and being empowered that way to protect you and your family is huge. Some additional links to news, to the chairman's newsletter that comes out. And also at the bottom, you'll see the bottom of the screen, you'll see the Fairfax County Office of Public Affairs. They're running the Joint Information Center on this through the county. And you can see there at www.fairfaxcounty.gov/COVID-19. That's going to contain, it's a specific site designed to give you all the information that you will need, reference the COVID-19 virus as it comes into the Joint Information Center. Again, like the chief said, and like we said earlier, this is a joint effort between not only just the county agencies, but the state agencies and at the federal level. And everybody's working together to try to make sure that we can get through this thing and come out on the other side of this stronger than we were. And that's really, it is a joint effort all around. So please visit that website. That'll give you all the news and the things that we have coming into the county, as well as the actual health department website. And here's some more information from the police department side of the house. Those of you on social media, we have several platforms that we use, from our news blog at fcpdnews.wordpress.com. And that lists information about cases, information about upcoming events, and information that we're putting out about the COVID virus. Also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, our YouTube channel as well, and then also on Nextdoor, which many of you who are online are also on Nextdoor. That's probably how you heard about this meeting, and you will see messages put out by our crime prevention officer, Marvin Goodley, and our community outreach officer, Katie Watts, on information that we have going on at the station and community events. And obviously in this time, Nextdoor and social media is being used to update you, the community members, on what we're doing and what steps we're taking to keep you safe and also to keep us safe. And please visit those sites. So talking a little bit about some of the things that we've changed and things we want you to understand is we have really been practicing what the CDC and everyone is recommending is social distancing and trying to figure out ways to conduct business that we haven't done before. And obviously this meeting right now is one of those things. Our departmental meetings and roll calls are being conducted virtually through video conferencing. Same thing we're doing right now. Our officers have this app on their phones, and they are conducting roll call that way to avoid actually meeting in person. It's a completely different concept for them, but it seems to be working out well, and they're picking up on it very quickly. Our safety officer program, we have a very robust safety officer program. They are trained in biohazards and how to mitigate and decon those hazards. So now that program, the chief graciously expanded this immediately to 24/7 to assist our patrol officers to decontaminate any of their equipment, any issues they may have, and also with helping us transport potential arrestees that may in fact either be infected or showing symptoms of that. So we have that resource available to us now to protect the community and protect our officers. You may have seen some of the portable messaging boards that have been placed around the county, and that's simply the messaging to social distance and wash your hands, just to remind people of that. It's very important that we do that, and those message boards are out there. We've enhanced our community reporting system, and we're going to go into that more later in the presentation, but the community reporting system is essentially allowing us to take more reports, not in person. So you'll see a little bit of a different business practice there, but again, that's just to maintain the social distancing. Nothing's changed with the financial crimes online reporting. We've done that. And then obviously for non-emergency situations without internet access, please call the non-emergency line 703-691-2131. And obviously, if there's an emergency, please always call 911. We are still open, we are still available, and we are still going to respond to any emergency, just like we always have. I want to make sure that's very clear that our business practices have changed somewhat, but we're still there to protect human life and all life and get out there and solve problems if need be. So to understand how we've set up the incident command within the county police department, this continuity planning is ongoing for us. There's short and long-term staffing models. I'm actually on the team working on some future staffing models we're looking toward. And really, as the other jurisdictions around the country are being hit very hard with this, we're trying to learn from them. And unfortunately, they're dealing with it, but that gives us a look potentially in the way we should be dealing with things based on what they're seeing. And that's all part of the contingency planning we're looking at. And the goal is to maintain our operations, maintain that service to the community with proper staffing to make sure our officers are protected and the community is also protected. We monitor operations and staffing each day. We have crime analysts and within the ICS structure who are monitoring our calls for service and how those calls for service are being taken. And we'll talk about that when we discuss the community reporting system. Always safety of the community and personnel is first priority. In this situation, you've heard it said it's an invisible enemy, and it's very difficult to know. It's a lot different when you're dealing with someone. Now, those of you that were in the area or lived through the DC sniper case, that was very frightening. It was a frightening time for everyone involved. But you were looking for a person. This is obviously, again, the invisible enemy. So our goal is to make sure as we're out and about and we're dealing with the community, we want to make sure that we keep you safe and we keep ourselves safe because that is our first priority in this instance. This incident command structure reports directly to the chief of police. There's a direct line. The communication is very, very robust. I've been on countless conference calls in the last 2 weeks. I couldn't even tell you how many. And the information we're being given from the chief on down is very good. It's very intensive information. And then in turn, I know I have and the other commanders that I work alongside with have been briefing their supervisors, and then that gets pushed to the troops. So it's working how it's supposed to work, and we're making sure that information is being pushed out. And again, that's all through virtual meetings. We're not meeting face to face. So what have we done at the Mount Vernon District Station? So we have maintained a full deployment of patrol officers. We have additional officers that are supplementing those patrol squads to make sure we have people out and about and can still answer calls for service. We have our detectives that are supplementing patrol, but we still have a job to do. Still law enforcement to be done, and they're still continuing their investigations. Our crime prevention and community liaison officers have been reassigned to community reporting, but they can still be reached by email and by next door if need be. We are responding to calls for service, and the goal is to have high visibility. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that when I get to policing in the age of social distancing and how that works. Officers will be making contact via phone when appropriate. So if you make a report and the officer calls and says, "Hey, this is Officer Smith, and I'm here to take your report. Would you mind talking to me over the phone?" Again, that's just to keep the officer safe and to keep you safe and to limit that contact. Just be aware of the declarations from the governors. He put out several executive orders limiting the number of people that can be in restaurants, and now he recently put out the stay-at-home order. We are doing our best as an agency to educate people when we see them out and about. But when you come down to an enforcement standpoint, we are not going to go out and grab people off the street for violating a stay-at-home order. This is something that the police department, we encourage it. We tell people we see in the community that they should be listening to this and trying to social distance as much as possible. But when it comes to these things, if you feel that there's an issue and there's too many people in one location, we have contingencies in place to make sure that we can get the proper county agency to respond and deal with those. We're very concerned with officer wellness and resiliency. This is a very stressful time for everyone, for you, for us. And the goal for us is to make sure that our officers who are now going to be deployed out on the front lines of this for an extended period of time. You've heard on the press conferences, you're talking several months of this, and we have to make sure our officers are doing okay. And we encourage their wellness, both their physical and mental well-being. And the chief is very strong supporter of that. So we make sure we're taking care of our folks as well. And the community reporting section has been expanded, and we'll get into that in just a minute. So what does enhanced visibility mean? Those of you that live down here in the Mount Vernon area, our officers are always in and out of the communities. They're in and out of the shopping centers. And I think we have a very visible presence down here. It is a very small district compared to other districts in the county. And I think our officers are very visible, but they're really intensifying their patrols in communities, in shopping centers, especially where you have the large centers like Target and Walmart and Costco, where you have people trying to get supplies. There's a lot of people in and out of there. You will see our officers in those shopping centers, and our goal is just to get increased visibility throughout the district. We want the community members to know that we are out and about, we are in the district, we are still here, and that is for your peace of mind as community members. But it's also there are maybe some people out in our community who may take advantage of this criminally. So we have to let them know that we're out there as well. So you will start seeing our cruisers driving around with their overhead lights on, sometimes fully on, sitting in the intersection, just to let you know that they're there. As they're driving down the road, they may have the rear lights on. If you've been to Washington, D.C. at night, you may have seen cruisers. They have their rear lights on or their side lights flashing. We're going to start doing that to just increase that visibility and let you know we're there for you, and let those who may want to run afoul of the law know that we're also there as well. So policing in the age of social distancing is definitely changing the way we do business. There's no doubt about that. So the community reporting section for phone reports has been enhanced. So what does that mean? Essentially, we've moved officers that were in assignments, like our school resource officers, who obviously now don't have a home because the schools are closed. They've been moved into a community reporting section that is led up by a commander who's done a great job of coordinating scheduling and also coordinating process so that these officers can take reports over the phone. We have officers that can do reports remotely. So if you call up and it's something that doesn't require collection of evidence, it may not require an immediate response for an in-progress call. It may be something that's eligible for that program. And again, what that's designed to do is it's designed to make sure that we limit contact, and it's been working out very well. We have some numbers at the end to talk about some of the percentages, but we're talking about a quarter of our calls right now at this point are being taken remotely, and we're hoping to continue to increase that as this continues, just to limit that contact. Our patrol officers may call you as part of their call for service. So if you call up and you request an officer and they show up, they've been directed to try to call you back. If there's a callback number in the event, they may try to call you and say, hey, I'm outside, but if we don't have to meet face to face, that would probably be better right now if we can take the call over the phone. If they can't do that for whatever reason, officers have been directed to respect social distancing when dealing with the community in person. So what does that mean? That might mean that the officer may stand on one side of the hood of his cruiser while you stand on the other side and you have a conversation. That's not because the officer is trying to, but it is because the officer is trying to avoid getting closer to you, but it has nothing to do with, it's not something to take personal. It's just we're trying to social distance, and we hope that the community appreciates that as well. And the question is, can our policing mission be met while avoiding this in-person contact? And it can, and we've proved that it can. We have officers taking calls on the phone. We have officers and supervisors reaching out to complainants and reaching out to people that have called in and discussing with them what their needs are. And many times we can mitigate a lot of these things over the phone, and it may not require an in-person contact. And again, that is just to protect you and to protect our staff, and and also just to try to slow the spread of this and make sure that within Fairfax County we can not let this explode like it has in other parts of the country. And you see what I put in red down there. Obviously, the safety of the public and our officers is the number one priority, and that's why we're doing this. So sometimes I know when you call, you may say, I want to see an officer, and we'll still send someone out there. Again, you may get a phone call that requesting that we take the report over the phone, or the supervisor may call you, or the officer may show up and say, hey, we can talk, but you please stay on one side of the cruiser and I'll stay on the other, and we'll have our conversation. So just don't be surprised if that happens. Just enhance that safety. All right, so I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to bring on Master Police Officer Marvin Goodley to talk a little bit about crime prevention and outreach. And Marvin, when you need me to switch the slides, just let me know. 1 second here. You should be good, Marvin.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Officer Goodley, the crime prevention officer here at the Mount Vernon Station. Hopefully everyone's having a good evening. As we are in a somewhat different situation here, some things do remain the same. We should be practicing our normal neighborhood watch practices. If you see something that doesn't look right, definitely call us. As you step outside your home to get some fresh air from being inside all day, something don't look right, something don't sound right, or you know that, hey, your neighbor might be away on vacation, or might be away somewhere, and there's some activity around their home, definitely give us a call so we can come out. We want to keep practicing those neighborhood watch practices that we know works, because it keeps the crime down in our communities. So if you see something, call us, call that non-emergency number. If you hear something strange while you're standing at the window, or something just don't seem right, you know what's normal and what's not normal in your community. Give us a call. We'll come out and take a look and make sure everything's good. Along those lines, unfortunately, we have seen a slight increase in the vehicle tamperings. We definitely want people to continue to lock those car doors, prevent the larcenies. If we have valuables, either take them in the house or put them out of sight. Unfortunately, with the situation, we do have more people that's out and about. So unfortunately, we have to prepare for that. And taking the proactive steps of keeping your outside lights on, keeping your rear lights on, you making the phone calls to us, and also you being aware of what's going on. We're going to keep the numbers going down. As the captain has said, we have more officers that are actually assigned to community reporting system. So that's being manned 24/7. So if you happen to call us, you will get a call back relatively quickly to find out exactly what's going on, so we can address whatever needs is going out there. Along those same lines, we know that some businesses are closed. So if you happen to live near a business and you see that it's closed, but all of a sudden you see some strange activity going on at that business, give us a call. Give us a call, because we want to know exactly what's going on, and we want to address those needs very quickly. Because we want to make sure that nothing gets out of control in the community. The main thing is that, you know, we pay attention to what's going on around us and we address what's going on very quickly. Unfortunately, with these situations, you do have some people that will try to, unfortunately, steal your money with a lot of different fraud things. So people will call you soliciting money. People will call you soliciting antidotes or serums. They don't exist. If someone calls you soliciting money, if it doesn't feel right, then it's not right. If you're in that charitable mood, give to your local church, give to the local charities that you normally give to. There's no agency, the Fairfax County Police Department, Fairfax County Sheriff's Department, we do not solicit for money over the phone. So if someone's calling you saying, hey, this is the police department looking to raise funds for the coronavirus, that is not true. So we would like you to be aware of that also. But if you get a call and it just doesn't seem right, call us also. Let us know so we can kind of track that also. The main thing is that we want you to know that we are here. We're still operating. Like the captain said, we're open for business. And if you see anything strange that doesn't look right, doesn't sound right, definitely give us a call.
Yeah, thank you, Marvin. And one of the big things that we've seen with the, I think, is some of the fake test kits that have been out. They're trying to say that you can order these COVID-19 test kits online, and that's obviously a fraud. These testing sites that are popping up all over the country now will be advertised. They will be run by government agencies and healthcare facilities to make sure that actual testing is occurring. As of right now, but my understanding is you still need a prescription to get a test from a doctor, or some doctors saying that, hey, you need to have a test done. So things you see online for these COVID-19 test kits, these are frauds that are occurring. So we ask that you please be very careful with that. I want to talk a little bit about some of the calls for service, just so you can still see that compared to 2019 and 2020, as you can see, our calls for service are up, and our officers are still out there working. Even in light of this, where people are sheltering in place, people are staying home. I can tell you, obviously, traffic has been very light, both on Richmond Highway and the Beltway. And I come from out west, so even 66, traffic has been extra light. I had no traffic coming to work at all in the morning, but our calls for service are still there. The officers are still handling calls for service, and that's important because we're still out there working, and we're still out there doing what we can for the community. This is a very, very busy slide, but I want to at least show you some of the statistics compared to 2019 and 2020. Again, February 17th through March 15th, some of the numbers that we had for our crime statistics. And just looking at some of these, obviously you can see crime kind of ebbs and flows, but our numbers have stayed about the same. Some of the different assault offenses or the break and entry offenses and things like that, they will ebb and flow. You'll get people that'll decide to take advantage of a situation. But I really only show you these because I want you to understand that we still have crime to tend to, even though COVID is definitely first and foremost in everybody's mind right now. We kind of have this our normal primary assignment of law enforcement and making sure that we're out there doing our job in that realm. It seems to be taking a back seat, but it really isn't. Our officers are still out there working and still handling calls for service. And just to show you some of the phone reports and some of the, trying to pull this up. Here's an example of some of the phone reports that we've been taking number-wise. So starting on March 15th, back whenever this really started to ramp up, we really implemented the community reporting system pretty heavy around the 22nd, 23rd of March. And you can start to see those numbers start to climb. So you can see the incident reports that we took. Again, this is just in Mount Vernon, not countywide, but all the way down. You can see the numbers continue to increase all the way up to the 29th. I mean, we're at almost 25% of our calls that we took over the phone. And that number is only going to continue to increase because that is the goal of the community reporting system, is to try to make sure that we are having less face-to-face contact, less in-person contact with members of the community. So all that being said, our website is still up and running. It's still functioning. We are still here. That's what we want you to know, is that we are open for business. We put a sign on the front door of the station. The county buildings are closed. but the police station is still open. So there's a big sign there that said, if you need something, come on in. There's a police citizen aide, a PCA, that sits behind the glass there at the front desk, and they can help you. And I just want to make that very clear that the police department is still open. Now you can see that at the bottom, that, despite our enhanced deployment posture, we are still available for specific enforcement requests and community concerns. And we still get those. We've got a lot in the last week. Suspicious people in a park at night because you have officers swing by. I'm having a traffic concern. You noted earlier that our traffic enforcement officer has been reassigned, and she will be back again when all this is done, and she'll still be taking complaints on the FCPD Mount Vernon traffic email. But a lot of that stuff, again, enforcement-wise, we've just had to move some of our resources around. Doesn't mean you can't send an email and let us know, and then we can have patrol officers when they're out doing their enhanced patrols. They can take a look at one of those areas as well. We just really want you to know that we're still here, and we're still open, and we're still going to be out there working for you to keep everybody safe. So what I'm going to do now, and again, this is all new to me too. So if you have any questions and you have the Zoom app, if you want to press the raise your hand button, I can see if someone has a question, and then I can try to answer it that way. I don't see any hands up at all. Daryl, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't have anything to add.
All right, I see a couple other commanders from other stations on the call as well. Anybody, any other commanders have anything from Franconia, Mason, Sully? All right, we do have one question. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute and stand by. Go ahead, Brian.
Hi, how you doing? I'm a federal employee. Right now I'm on telework at home, but I'm also considered an essential employee, and eventually they're going to call me back to work in DC. And they've given me a letter to carry with me to show anyone that stops me from driving. I'm just wondering, with the current governor's stay-in-place orders, are you going to be pulling people over when they drive to have to go to work?
No, that's actually a great question. I was on a conference call yesterday with the Washington Metropolitan Council of Governments and all the chiefs discussing staffing, and that was a big question for Maryland and DC. And I know that it was discussed in Maryland. It has not been discussed in Virginia. Again, the governor's order is very open here in Virginia. We are not telling our officers to pull people over and ask them where they're going and stopping people and ask them if they are in fact essential. I know that that's been discussed in DC and Maryland as well, but we are not doing that. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Any other questions at all? I don't see any other hands raised. I'll give it another minute. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. I'm going to pull that website information back up. As you can see there, you visit the website on the Fairfax County page. Just go to the police page and Mount Vernon District Station, and you can send a message to the Mount Vernon MTV Captain CAPT at fairfaxcounty.gov. Lieutenant Nichols is Daryl.Nichols@fairfaxcounty.gov. And then obviously the information for Master Police Officer Marvin Goodley and PFC Katie Watts is there in the crime prevention unit. If you have concerns, if you have questions after this meeting, please just send us an email, and we'll be glad to discuss it afterwards. And you can also let friends know that I've recorded this meeting. So the plan is we will post it on Nextdoor. So anyone who is unable to make it, they'll be able to listen to the meeting afterwards. So seeing no other hands, we will go ahead and end the meeting, and thank you all for attending.